Kirk, how we doing, brother?
Doing really well. How you doing?
Good, man. So, this is our second meeting. Our first one we tried to record, we had a little technical difficulties, so I really appreciate you coming back and spending the time to refilm, if you will.
Yeah, I know I was bummed because I was so enthusiastic that first interview. I'm going to have to channel that again.
I think you have it in you.
All right.
I've seen it before.
Sounds good.
So for all those out there, Kirk has a really great yoga studio here in San Diego. He does kickboxing, yoga, and has a really cool little community he's built down there. So I know that you've only been in business, 2 years now?
It'll be 2 years in April.
2 years in April. And
yeah.
You're already rocking it, so I'm really, really proud of you and excited, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Why don't you give us a little background on exactly how you got that all started?
Certainly. Well, the story goes, basically, I was on my way out of the United States. I had packed my bags, sold all my stuff. I moved back to Michigan to say goodbye to my family. I had visas to India and Thailand, and I had plans to go to Taiwan. I had lived there before. And I was just going to give the peace sign to the USA because I was burnt out. People were just bumming me out, and I couldn't find my situation. So, but for whatever reason, the day before I was supposed to board my plane to India, I had this overwhelming, crippling feeling that I couldn't go. And I like to travel. I'm generally not scared, so I thought it was unique. I made a few phone calls, talked to a few people, and my dad actually was like, well, what are you going to do? And I thought, well, not work for anyone else, because that is a tough thing for me to do. So I sat down and I started writing. One thing led to another. All of a sudden I had this business plan concept written out for a yoga studio with martial arts, and then every class culminating with a shot of green smoothie so everyone can kind of get a little celebration after their practice, after their efforts, and do a little icebreaker, because everyone wants friends, but nobody wants to make the first move to talk to someone, because they would be admitting that they wanted a friend. So trying to make it easier, smooth for people to exercise and socialize and just become better individuals. So I flew back to San Diego. I got working really hard. I pitched it to a few people. I raised some investment, which was a trip because I've never done anything like that before. And the first time I asked someone for money, I was like, can you help me? I think it might be okay. It might work, maybe. And, now I've worked with multiple investors, and now I'm like, listen, give me the dough. I've got a good idea. Let's rock and roll. So it's been a heck of a time for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So what exactly makes Hail Holistic different than all the other yoga studios in San Diego? Because I know there's quite a few.
There are a ton, and I always get in trouble because I like to point out the differences in things. My uncle actually was like, "Oh, so you're gonna open a yoga studio in San Diego? There's 5,000 other ones. That's great. You'll be toast in a year." But from my experience taking yoga classes, you kind of go in, you roll out your mat, you have some teacher that's 25 years old telling you how to fix your life, and they're reading directly from some book that someone else wrote that was probably 100 years old that has a clue. And so there's this weird loss of information, this kind of weird vibe where you're supposed to go into the room and all of a sudden your problems will evaporate and you're this peaceful person, and you have to, feel like you're a vegetarian and you drive a Prius, or else you're going to be in deep trouble with the yoga situation. So I wanted to move away from that. In the industry, we call it the pseudo-enlightenment. It's a package thing that they'll package this feeling of peace. You'll see the photos of the people sitting in perfect calmness. And so we wanted to move away from that a little bit, because I think it's possible to achieve, but I think it takes a lifetime of commitment. And so if you're going to actually get there, you need to go to a place where you can show up every day, good days, bad days, happy, sad, pissed off, whatever, and still feel comfortable and still be accepted at that time. And so with branding and things like that and promotion, we kind of separated ourselves as the fun, laid back, kind of cool yoga studio. And then we have the kickboxing, martial arts, so that people can actually move a little faster sometimes, exercise. Because my experience, yoga is not quite enough. A lot of people will run on the side. A lot of people like to do their other things. So just to have this other little piece for that day where you just can't roll out the mat, you're like, I can't freaking do this today. Just to give someone an option, to continue to move, to continue to exercise, breathe, be mindful, but do something a little different. And so, fusing those two together, these polarities, is unique in itself. My first Yelp review was by someone who never had been to the studio, and they were irate at the combination of yoga and kickboxing because she said yoga is all about, non-harming, and kickboxing is just pure violence, and people are just going to be running up there trying to kill each other. And it's interesting because some of the calmest, most profound people I've ever trained with have gone through a martial arts practice at some point or another, have worked through extremely intense, fearful situations, and have learned what power they have, because that's what we're doing, right? We're feeling our power. We're going out there, we're exhausting all of our desires so that we can then settle down and relax into ourselves and not prove something, So that in itself is, another option. Plus we do the green smoothie shot after class, which I think is the coolest thing because it's like a little ritual thing, you finish and you pour out the shot and everyone will cheers or they won't, and it gets the room going. And sometimes I walk into the studio after class and I think I've gone into the bar because people are just like talking and laughing and interacting, and that part, it just trips me out. I love that so much.
I remember the first class I did with you, actually Jess Johnson was the teacher. That's the reason I went. And after the class, I'd been to many yoga classes before, and, we bust out the smoothies, and I got to, meet everyone. There's probably, 12 of us in the class at least. And I was like, I've never really talked to anyone after a yoga class. I've said hi or, give, these great smiles, and it's great, but it's not really, the connection that I crave. So I love meeting new people, so it was right off the bat, I was like, so, I get to meet new people when I come here, and everyone seems, really friendly and, really engaging. Maybe I'll come back.
Yeah. And that's cool. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no. So after that, I came back for more classes, and I was just kind of, this place is different, and I always enjoyed different. And I'm not a West Coast full blown yogi, I guess you'd call it. So I enjoy yoga. I think it's a great addition to what I do physically, and I think it's a great centering technique for a lot of people. But I don't take it super serious as some people do. Yeah,
and I appreciate that. I mean, you're like an ideal member for the studio. Is that we're in East Village, which is a pretty funky town for San Diego. It's cool. There's a lot of art still going on. It's still very underdeveloped. There's a lot of interesting characters, and being in that kind of young, up and coming environment, our students kind of reflect that. They're doing cool shit. Their days look interesting. They have all this stuff doing. They're doing stuff that they love, that they like, whatever, and then they're just going to yoga because it feels good. And they can leave it at that. And so that heaviness is not present. That heavy dependency, like having only one thing that is keeping you in alignment, it can produce like a really intense vibe. And so we've been lucky to attract people that are pretty rounded, pretty balanced as is. And they're just coming there, like I said, because it feels good, it's cool. And you said something, I love that you said it. You crave something, a different kind of connection, and you're obviously, you're a pretty open person who has done difficult self-work to be able to say something like that so easily. A lot of people come through and they would die before they'll admit to me that they're craving connection, right? So for whatever reason, we want friends, but we won't take them. So just setting up a situation to attract like-minded people, to attract interesting people, and then just gently giving them little pushes so that they can intermingle and get to know each other without it being some big production, without it being too intense, too heavy. And over time, it's just been remarkable. I mean, I literally love the people that come here. I would be friends with almost every member that I have, and I can't say that about a lot of people. So it's working out.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, don't know if you believe in the law of attraction, but it seems that you're attracting the people you want to attract to your studio. Obviously, you're talking about well-rounded people. It attracted me for whatever reason. Like, say, I got there, but I came back because people try things all the time, but they just oh, that was not for me. And I do that all the time. I try new stuff every day. I try new stuff. So
Sure.
to keep being drawn back there and whatever, it's like it's a good sign that you're doing the right things to attract people that are maybe thinking differently or craving that connection and not wanting your basic yoga studio. Because I agree, opening up a yoga studio in San Diego sounds like a death sentence because there's so many of them, and there's a lot of really good yoga studios if you want to do, or you have your Core Power, which is a little more corporate, but they offer so many more classes, as far as time range and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many options for yoga that you really have to do something to stand out, and obviously you're doing that, so I applaud you.
Thank you. And I will say there are remarkable studios here, and
there are.
It's been great because whatever you're in the mood for, I mean, there's a place for it, and we're just finding our little niche, I guess is how you would say it. I always said niche, but we're finding our little space in the yoga world, and there are people that want what we are offering. And the weirdest thing, I'm a logical person for the most part. I like reason and arriving at things through reasonable consequences and things like that. But there's this funny thing that's been happening since I've had Hale, and it's like all these people that I'm supposed to be meeting. If you believe in any fate or any of that kind of stuff, like all these people that I'm supposed to meet, and then this next project presents itself that I just fall right into, and then some other person comes in that can just so happen to be able to help me in this next thing I want to do. And there's been this rolling ball of momentum that it gives me goosebumps, the chills. It freaks me out if I really think about it, because it's so far beyond my individual ability. It's like all this shit just channeling into one idea, one movement, and it's changed my life, to be perfectly honest. And it's weird because I am like a sarcastic little shit, and I do like to make light of everything, but I have to admit something pretty intense is happening for sure, due to the result that I'm doing something, I guess, that I love, that I believe in. I love coming to work every single day. I wake up and I want to work.
Yeah, that's a pretty unique thing for someone to say. There's not too many people in this world that can say that, and I feel very blessed to be one of them as well. And I love what you said about just being in action on things and having things sort of open up for you. I believe that if you're doing something you love and you're doing it out of passion for the right reasons, and you're in action every day and really expanding that it's inevitable that things will open up for you, and people will want to work with you, and there's just opportunities out there that you just didn't even know existed.
Yeah, and another thing that's happened, give myself a little plug here, it's evolved into, we're just forming the Hale Foundation, which is going to be our nonprofit.
Awesome.
And I've worked with a lot of at-risk, like underprivileged youth kids in Michigan and Kalamazoo. I worked with Derek Jeter's Turn 2 Foundation. I taught Taekwondo to kids, and have always worked with people that can't quite afford it, if you will, or don't have an environment that nourishes it. Maybe, I picture this. I stopped bringing home my report card in the 6th grade. I told my parents, I got this under control. I'm going to be good. And they let me just freaking go. They let me go. They let me be my own person since I was, barely old enough to articulate. And everything I've wanted to do, they've supported me. And that feeling, is so remarkable. And when I think about someone who might come home and say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I want to try this painting class. And they think, oh, you're not a painter. You're not going to paint. Don't waste your time with that. You need to do this, this, and this. And I think about that, and it makes me surge inside to think about the fact that not everyone has an equal opportunity to explore different components of life. And so all this Hale stuff and, the network and people, I've met the most amazing people, and I've put together a team that is just freaking enormously talented. And we're going to start offering, we're trying to empower kids through movement, which would be martial arts and yoga, do a lot of wellness stuff, educating them on food, nutrition, green smoothies, taking them to the market, having a farmer tell them what a carrot is. I mean, why should I eat a carrot? And just planting these little seeds in their head, giving them these little nuggets, and then getting them journaling. We have an art director. She's remarkable. She's going to get them painting, drawing, writing. We're going to get them thinking, get them talking, communicating. And you know, you can't save them all. You can't, you know, get anyone to do anything they don't want to do, but giving people the opportunity with no cost out of their pocket to think, holy shit, I had no idea, but I can write poems, or oh my god, I can draw, or oh wow, I can throw a really nice right cross, or I love yoga, my breath is shallow. Like all these things, it's so important to me to be doing that kind of work. I can't explain it other than it just makes me light up. And so now we're in a position, we're launching, and it's out of control because it's all because of all this other stuff that I've been doing and these other people that I've met. And, you know, to literally, you know, give people a potential to change their lives is what we're talking about now.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's really awesome to think that people are out there caring about kids, that, you know, they're our future. You know, if we could get everyone to, you know, do yoga and work out and eat better food. I mean, there's so many, you know, things that I think that we could improve in this country. Obviously, physical health is one of them, and that would be a huge step if we were able to get that. And I do some work with High Tech High there in San Diego, and it's just amazing to see. I think the kids of our future, really, there's huge potential there. They just need guidance. They just need opportunity. And when you create opportunity like you're doing, that's amazing, because given the opportunity, even if they just try it once, or like say they try yoga, it wasn't for me, then maybe they try taekwondo, but you know, maybe they really like eating better. So if they could pick up anything that you're going to be offering, just one thing, you know, their life has changed for the better.
Yeah, and then I don't have to lose sleep thinking about these kids going home and not getting encouragement, because that, I wish there was a quick solution to that problem. But little by little, you know, you gotta get in there and do some work.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really thank you for your work in that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool stuff. And you know, I've been running a business for 2 years now, so we're gonna model our nonprofit after a business, so we'll be very polished, very well organized situation. Because you know, sometimes you have the best of intentions and you get lost in your own bleeding heart, right? And you can't actually make the change because the right pieces aren't there. And so, you know, we've taken our time assembling this team, and you know, I was talking to Jess Johnson about it, which is, you know, ultimately how we know each other, and she has Genes for Justice, and that's just grown into this remarkable thing that everyone in San Diego knows about, everyone's involved with. And I've done some, you know, volunteering with her, talking to some of these teenage girls about relationships and guys and all this stuff, and that stuff's just so freaking awesome to be a part of. It feels so good. And so at the end of these programs with these kids, we're going to take them into the community and have them volunteer their time for people even less fortunate than them. So it's full circle. Wow. And then you empower somebody to empower somebody else. Little by little, all these lights in their brains turn on. Next thing you know, we have an aware and conscious country, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome, because it starts with one person, and then, you know, we can only touch so many people. So the more people we touch, and it just kind of infiltrates from there. So good or bad. So that's why it's got to be so aware of what exactly, you know, how you come across people, how you interact with people. That's why I've become so conscious with that.
Sure.
Because it has an impact, good or bad. So
true enough. It sure does.
You know, we're almost out of time here, but I know on our last call you had mentioned that you had started a new hobby, and I just want to touch on that so quickly because I think it's amazing, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My career is a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
I believe I would be a ballerino. But, yeah, I don't know. Like you mentioned, trying new things all the time. You know, unique experiences, creating moments in life where you feel alive, they're not given to us, you know. So I try and go out and do something that I'm going to remember. You know, I want to give myself nostalgia so I can look back and say, oh, that summer when I was hanging out with that girl, or this or that or whatever, you get that feeling you lived. And so I jumped myself into an adult ballet class, and it said beginner, intermediate, but I was the only beginner in the room. And I've never done ballet in my life. I've been dabbling with hip-hop for the last year or so, just because, again, I'm not good at it and it drives my brain crazy. So I'm trying to like plow open new pathways. But ballet, the movement, the grace and strength combination, like for a man to be able to move in that way, I think is freaking amazing.
Yeah,
So
really
I want to give it a whirl. I go into class. There's little teenage girls. There's adults. Everyone's good, and the teacher's not stopping for me. And they're going, "Oh, this fondue, plie, blah blah blah, tendu, this, that, and that." And I'm just looking around, trying to keep up, just tripping over my feet. But ultimately thinking like, "Wow, look what I'm doing right now. This is freaking cool. This is fun." And about halfway through class, the teacher, she stops and she looks at me, and I was like, oh shit, she's gonna kick me out of here. And she says, I know you're new, like brand new, but I just want to commend you on your efforts and your courage to be here, because I'm totally impressed, and to be honest, you're actually getting some of the footwork down. And then all the other people in class start like clapping, and I'm just freaking out, tripping out. I put my head in my chest, I got this grin, I'm embarrassed, and I was like, oh god, I'm glad you said that. I feel horrible, but shoot, I'm here. And then this little 12-year-old comes up to me and she says, you just got to keep trying. And I was like, oh, you're kidding me. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
And then, it's over, and I've been doing it, and I've been practicing a little bit at my studio. I'm putting a ballet bar in at Hale.
Nice.
And I don't know, like, why would we limit ourselves to anything that we think we should be doing?
There's no limits other than what you place on yourself. So I really commend you to expand that into something that, I've never even thought of trying. Ballerina. That's not really come into my awareness, but I love the challenge there.
Yeah, I'm still not ready to skydive though. That's one thing I mentioned before. That one still got my number, but little by little, trying to break into new things. And I don't know. I mean, when does the journey end? I think hopefully never. So trying to keep it moving forward.
Yeah. Just last year, about a year ago, we did spoken word for Jeans for Justice with Jess, and that was one of the best experiences to actually. I had never written poetry. I had never performed in front of anyone. I had never done anything. So I write my own poem and I perform it in front of people, and it was like amazing.
Oh wow!
And I really haven't written anything since, but it's almost been a year, and I'm kind of like getting this itch to write something again. So it's almost like sparked something within me. And it helped me in so many other ways. I mean, public speaking, just fear of getting in front of people, and fear of really giving a shit what people think, because they're not really judging you as much as we think they are. People aren't really judging you.
Yeah, that's remarkable that you could do that. I mean, that's the ultimate, putting your words out there for other people to just twist up and tear apart. But like you said, I mean, courage is the number one attractive quality in all human beings. We look at people trying new things and we think, my goodness, they're brave. That's amazing. And someone might dog you or give you a hard time. It's just because they're scared, and forget them anyway. So that's the coolest. I don't know if I could do something like that. I always think about doing it.
I think you could do it, man.
I think I would be faster to do a ballet performance than I would do spoken word. Well, maybe we could collaborate on something. You could read a poem and I'll do a modern dance interpretation.
That might work.
Oh, yeah, for a good cause. We'll donate it all.
There you go. You got your new charity opening up, your nonprofit, so that could be a possibility. You let me know when you want me to perform.
Oh God, yeah, sure thing.
I better start writing now, so we'll see how long that might take. I know it took the whole process from before was like almost 3 months from when we started to when we actually performed. Which was good because I needed all the time I could get just to. Although it's funny, we think we need all this time. Just going out and doing it sometimes is the easiest and the best way, because we get in our head thinking, "Oh, does this sound right? I can't do this." And all these things. We all have this voice, right? It just talks to us. And the more we listen to that, the less confident we'll be, and the less likely we are to go do things. So that's why I just try and jump into things.
Yeah, I just read today, you gotta go before you're ready, or it'll never happen. It's like, that's how it is owning a business. I had no freaking clue. And, now I'm wheeling and dealing, so whatever.
Yeah, I know. I read that book, Ready, Fire, Aim. And it's good. It talks about that. It's, talking about, hey, just kind of know what you want to do, go for it, and then you'll figure it out on the way. And it's a very scary concept, especially if you're investing money or other people's money, your time, your passion of something. It's super scary, but doing it obviously has its benefits.
Yeah, and like I said, what's more scary, being complacent and bored and unhappy, or trying new things and potentially failing?
Yeah, that's an easy answer for me, but
It's, people just need a taste. Just get a taste, go for it, and the rest is history. It really is.
awesome. Well, I really appreciate you joining us again here.
Yeah, hopefully the audio comes out this time.
Yeah, I think we got this one down. So I'm gonna put your links in the comments below. It's Hail Holistic. If you're in San Diego, go check it out. It's a really cool studio. He'll give you a free smoothie and have a great time.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you're doing. And hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Sounds good, man. We'll do it in person next time.
All right, cool. Take it easy.
Have a great night, man.
You too.